Hello and welcome to All Talk No Dice, the worst excuse for a D&D show you can find online. From last we left off, the Companions of Fate continued their journey through the Crawler's Respite, and after some very interesting events, you finally made your way back into the Sand Bowl pass-through town of Branton. Gerald charmed a very polite goblin merchant Zerg, while Terra and Rayloff had minds of distrust towards your Leonin ally Duke, who had left your band earlier after tensions grew between him and Terra. All three of you found Sierra's sundries once again and traded in the husk hides you collected days ago. Just before you advised him to change his lifestyle for his own health, and finding some very interesting gems of items as well as a small chest full of loot. After some conversation about future prospects, you all decided to invest in Sierra's store, holding his own hoard of gold he received from some mysterious Copera, while also being given the job to decide on a name of the future store that Sierra will run, whether it is within Growldeem or elsewhere within Valdur. Now, after your business is concluded, gold and items are plenty in your bags, you begin to step past the stables and into the opening doors of the law house, as the doors gently swing open while the two guards stand attentive, and just as Rayloff leads the charge past the threshold into the chamber of the lawkeeper. Wondering where the conversation will go, this is where we pick it up. So, the doors just and open ahead. Rayloff, are you heading in first?
I believe so, yeah. I think he
Yeah.
was heading up first.
Okay. You walk into the dimly lit chamber and you find no internal guards within the chamber, and you see it's almost solemn and peaceful as the small hustle and bustle from the stables and the rest of the town behind you is slowly cut short as you step through, and the doors behind you just close shut. The small firelight from the braziers just flicker on either side of the small stone throne that the broad Alvish man sits upon. You are back.
We are. We bring some news, some good, some not good, but I think overall it's gone well so far.
Then I feel you shouldn't stand on my account. There are chairs over there to the corner. Grab them.
Yeah, I'll just head over. I'll head over and just grab three of them and just bring them over.
Easy, just that small little light stools as you set them down in front of the lawkeeper. And as you all begin to shuffle onto them, he just kind of, as he's leaning forward still, and you see his large broad shoulders hunching forward slightly, just in curiosity. I feel we shall talk as equals today.
That'll be very nice.
So, tell me, what of the herons have you found?
Before we start this kind of talk, if we're equals, how have you been?
Busy.
Oh, obviously, but you, how are you?
Terra, I am tired.
That's understandable.
I have lived for over 200 years, and I have never been as tired as I am now.
Well, thank you for that information.
Thank you for keeping me busy and awake most nights.
Okay.
So the news better be good. As you genuinely do see a fairly large smile on Berlin's face.
Yeah.
As he kind of just gets a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah.
How are you all?
Tired. Not as obviously tired as you. Um, I would say we've been equivalently. Oh well, I don't know how much work you do in particular. I know it's very busy and you do a lot of it. But what we've done, I would consider quite a lot of work. So we're quite tired on that.
I would like to think that I do plenty of work.
Oh,
Tara.
you do. The town is fantastic as per usual.
You're a unique group full of charmers.
We try our best.
Now, should we talk of business?
Yes, we shall. Herons.
The Herons.
Yes. So, if anyone else wants to jump in, feel free. But so, herons. We have not been able to sort them out in particular. Only through our investigation for the herons, we found out that a ogre, I want to say it's an ogre, he is in charge of this group. Finding out that they were apparently seen as the herons, but we found out that this ogre is more friendly, doesn't actually want to fight, and two individuals, they were portraying the herons badly and capturing the shipments through the road and killing pretty much anyone going past.
You're telling me that another group were framing this ogres group as the herons and the target for the attacks?
To take the one that he's possessed, I believe that is the
Your
reason.
captains,
Cruel and... Let me just get...
Mogrush.
That's the one.
Cruel and Mogrush.
Um,
Those two,
But we have dealt with them.
Very good.
The remaining
Hold
heron...
on.
Go on,
If
go
you
on,
would
go on.
like evidence of this, I'm just going to reach onto Tara's side, go into the bag, and pull out. It'd be Mogrush's cursed sword, isn't it? To actually bring out in front of him. Here is his sword as evidence, as one of the.
I'll pull out the crossbow. And this is the crossbow from Cruel.
Cool.
Mhm. But that's. I just wanted to provide some evidence and
It's true, it's true.
put some in there. Anyway, carry on.
And you just see Bolin just eagerly eye both of the items.
Yeah.
Also,
Is there a table in front of him?
No table. Although you can, there is just where you got the chairs from. There's a small little low set table if you wanted to bring that over. And as
How far away?
and as DM notes as well, the Alistor
Yes.
was from Cruel.
Yeah.
And the crossbow is from Ogrush.
Ah,
Yeah, there's
it's the other way
mixed up,
around.
Yeah. Right, just letting you know now.
Yeah. So, yes.
Hold on. Are you offering me these weapons as a gift?
I mean,
Or
They're
are
not
you
very good
clearly
gifts.
just displaying them?
sort of look at the other party like.
I'll just,
"Really?"
this crossbow, I feel, would probably be better in the town's hands more than mine. And I don't know about my party, but I think they would agree.
I would say at least it's in safe hands. We could always give it a go and see if it's actually viable, but there's not real much need for us to use their weapons.
Oh, they are gifts, my
Yeah.
lord.
In fact, I have Mogrush's sword. I'll pull that out the bag as well. But you see, when we were encountering him, or it, he seemed a bit weird. Is the politest way I can put it.
Thirsty is the better word.
We actually think there is something to the sword. We might be wrong, or I at least might be wrong. So I wouldn't study it for too long, but maybe get someone to see it, and I'll pull it out and I'll kind of show it him first, and then I'll put it back in the bag because I don't want to keep it on me for too long.
There are not many people I know of that can understand arcane items here.
Okay.
But I will trust in your judgment, and you keep that sword in your hands. As for the other two weapons, the crossbow, Rayloff, we will accept and appreciate. Gerald, that large sword, do you wish to keep it?
It does look rather fitting on me, I can't deny.
Then you shall keep it.
Oh, thank God.
I am not a common thief. I wasn't going to steal any of your things if you didn't want me to.
I'll bring the table over, and I'll unfurl a map. I would imagine on the map it would have the locations where we went to.
Which map are you showing?
The map showing the details of where, so like the hideouts and also.
That would be in my possession.
Oh, I would. Okay.
If you ask me, I can bring it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I would have put it.
I'll put it
I wasn't sure if we would have had a map ourselves or if it was just shared, but that's fine.
That's fine.
Yeah, I'll just roll that onto the table.
Yeah.
Okay, alright. So you get the map of Graldimout, where it's been marked and etched.
Marks, yeah.
And you see Bolin just eye the map up. And all of these markings, you did these.
We did about a couple markings, but a few of those were already on there. Like, for instance, that little line up there, we have no idea.
We tried to cross the river to this point, marking this point. Or yeah, that the circle with the crossovers, and we found out that the water isn't actually there. It's some monsters at the bottom, and we can't actually cross, so we haven't actually seen her yet. But pointing at the map. But last time I came down from the north. If you go to this point, mark it at the crossroad part. I think it's going to be safer if anyone were to go over there, to go to there first and then go on to the other side.
What was this creature like?
To be honest, I never actually saw it. I just know the pain that it gave me, very very painful, and because I was flying away, you see, it hurt a lot. Actually, I'm still mid-repairing.
A large amalgamation
Out.
of vicious sludge.
Sludge.
It definitely had a sewage consistency.
Yeah, smelled like it as well.
Gargled and moved.
It did. Very slowly, actually, but it sounded very large.
It's the Dragmarsh.
Of course.
Plenty have heard of it. No one has ever come back telling me they've seen it.
Well, it's there.
The ravine to the north.
That's the one. Pointing at the map so he knows exactly where it was.
Well, I'm glad you survived.
Yeah, barely.
Now, this ogre, you said, happy.
Yes. Very friendly.
Does this one have a unusual sense for pacifism?
Yes.
I would say so.
We have
This-
He
crossed
did- he
paths
did-
before.
He did say he came through Brenton one time.
He did, and he nearly scared half the town to death.
That I can definitely see.
Yeah.
Though,
He did help us to defeat Mogush, actually.
That's unusual to hear him traveling out of his own temple.
they were demanding of us his head. They, from what we heard from him, he had given them residence at one point, and they were trying to threaten goblins under him, and he kicked them out. Hence why they were trying to make it seem as if he was doing these attacks.
Yeah, abusing the powers.
Well, that's one evil thwarted. And you do not know of any more herons operating around Skraldheim?
Not that we know. But let me just confirm his name. Have you seen or know about the whereabouts of Eric Braun Stout? I thought that name up on that.
No, you got it fine.
Sick. Okay. Have you? Yeah.
Erig has not been seen for a number of months.
We believe that he's actually taken this ogre. Bar, his name was. We only believe, only because we found this next to with his name on. I know it could be a framing. But we know he's done quite a lot of bad things, just not particularly what. To a pass buyer, if that's the right term. And we believe he tried to kill us while trying to sort out this heaven problem.
And what proof do you have of that allegation?
We used to have, well, we had a lot of bullet holes in us, but we've managed to repair them.
You have the pellets, don't you know?
We do. I'll pull out the bag, and I'll kind of open it up and kind of push some.
You were fired at range,
A lot.
apparently.
600 feet, I would say. I'm sure that's how far I saw it.
I've heard tales of Eric and another ally or accomplice spending days and weeks inside that home. Loud bangs and weird smells and different coloured smoke emanating out the chimney breast. But I had no idea he was making something like this, or they were.
Do you know anyone else who may have experience putting these weapons together?
Our smith is very, unfortunately, usual.
Because we managed to get one of the weapons that, I'll point to terrible with names today.
Brain fart.
Gerald. Gerald had spoken to a travelling merchant who supplies Erig and EG. With these
AB.
parts. AB, sorry.
Admittedly, he supplies half of your town, so always take what with a pinch of salt if he's evil.
I think that's more he just supplies to a demand. It's the goblin trader,
From-
Zerg.
Zerg. From the Utkar couriers, I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yes, the explosion one.
The explosion one. I'm never going to forget that day. It was the one day I actually had to train all of my guards to stop putting their noses where their business didn't belong.
So far, it's worked out well
Well, no one has been blown up again.
because you trained them. It's just fantastic. Another perfect example of your capabilities.
Tara,
Yeah.
when you kindly dislodge your tongue from my anus, then we can continue talking. I appreciate the compliments,
Okay, it's only a
but
compliment.
you don't need to
But-
lather it on so thick. I already like all of you.
Okay, that's fine. Just trying the best. Just want good things. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, that reminds me. I had this letter dropped by me, addressed for all of you. And he just hands it out.
I'll take it because I was giving him so much amazing compliments.
No. I was very concerned when the courier brought this message to me. Because
Did you come in a rush?
from what I've seen, the courier looked a lot like your ally that had since ran away from your departure.
Ooh. Well, we haven't actually seen him in some time, you know. Did
No.
he have an appearance of any electric?
Roll
Oh,
a deception check.
Deception. D1 is this 12?
You just see Bolin look at you as his eyes were passing over all of you. As you say that, his eyes just glue onto you, Tara.
Okay. I don't know. Have I said something wrong? I'll kind of like look to Gerald and Real. I think we've sort of seen him once. He actually saved our lives briefly, didn't he? And then he like zapped away. So
If you want to keep this conversation open and as equals, I would advise you to be as honest and forthright with me.
I honestly am. In fact, we've seen it twice. Sorry. No.
Very well.
Let me just confirm that it's definitely twice, but carry on. Literally, you'll see her going into think mode.
Okay, avoiding that topic there, because legitimately, I actually have no knowledge of some of the events that transpired. But your forces that were sent along to aid us, which we thank you for your support, but they all died. And we found their bodies on display not too far from the temple. We gave them rites and a burial. That was all we could do.
I'll pull out the notes that I had got off of the one of the gods, but that we had found outside the temple.
There was a list of them, wasn't there?
Yeah, it was a list of from either Cruel or Mogrish, and also I'll take out the what's the word? The instructions that would have been given to them.
He takes the note, and as he does, you can see him visibly just shaking slightly. They were 20 very good men and women. But I am grateful for the burial you gave them. Not many would have done that. And he looks to the letter, and it's the one that you found on the one of the two dead guards outside the temple, correct? With
Yeah. It was definitely two.
I did not write this.
The instructions.
Just upon request. I thought it was better to send action rather than words. So I did not write any letter.
Just
No
told them to
notes,
go.
no instructions. They knew exactly what their job was, who you are, and where to find you. Roughly.
Where did the note come from?
I'm assuming it was forged. Do you have any idea on who it could have been from? If you have a rough guess.
None of my men, to what I know of, are in any way, shape, or forms forgers.
No. I mean, if it, if the, if, if they sadly have died, but then someone else has written the note to make it seem like you wrote it and put it there. That's what I'm trying to imply. Not them doing it.
Do you know of anyone here or around that is capable of such things?
I'm going to pull out the small note that Duke wrote to say about how he dealt with Krull. Obviously, not in saying that to him. Could you see if you know if it might come from this person?
You bear the writing.
Yeah.
And he just grabs the two ladders and puts them in front of him.
Yeah. Only because this was the person we encountered, and he does like to appear, disappear, appear, disappear. I really don't want it to be, but it's just a.
There are certain similarities in the curves. And in the body of the text that is finished, the letters do trail off on both. I am not sure of what that means for you,
Okay.
but they look similar enough to me. But while trying to, and very effectively, forging my own shorthand, there are still small hints of the letters that match.
Has Eric ever sent anything to you?
Years ago, he was very well liked in Brenton when he first arrived. Fresh face full of ideas and dreams.
Because that I have taken from any conversation from this person is that he stole a lot of the ideas from him, or they were in partnership at the time, and then something happened.
There were slight rumors and hints in the beginning that Eric was he was not interested in women.
Okay.
But the talks of the town led to another man finding his way into Eric's home late in the night and early in the morning, staying for days upon days.
Was there any any of those rumors? Was it a Leonin at all?
I am not sure. From what the people in this town speak of, it could have been a beholder for all anyone knows.
And Eric No one's seen him for months.
No.
Because on Zerg's delivery notes that he had showed us, some of those deliveries were for Eric.
I imagine he is probably still in his home, if he hasn't left yet. But the small home just on the hill to the west, there has been no smoke from the chimney in quite a while. I'm not sure what that says about him, whether he's not there or he's taking a break. Whatever it may be, speaking of couriers, I was tempted to speak with your ally. The one that you had not told me about before you departed. The one who had his hands too far in the mess of my sons.
Yes. Well, I just want to say, we'll never be able to repay the apology that is needed.
You will never be able to give me my sons back.
I won't. Unfortunately, I know this.
And I know. Or seem to know that you were pushed into that situation. And I am not someone who is so vengeful as eye for an eye. And with as promising as all this information and tales have been, I am willing to reduce the consequence for your ally.
We appreciate it. We have given him the good old...
Well, that is good. And now you've given him the good old... Then you can pay his bounty as well.
He can pay his own bounty.
Well, when you see him, let him know he owes Brenton 375 gold pieces for the bounty and the freedom of his own life. If he does not pay it within 7 days of now, he will be arrested and serve the full sentence of his transactions on 2 accounts of murder. Saying that, he sped into my abode, merely said a word, put the letter into my hands, and then sprinted away. He looked like he was in a rush.
Well, one of the moments that we saw him for, it must have been about 2 minutes, and he zipped in and then zipped off. Not being a walking, I only assume in magical means, but I know it's not his own because he was worrying.
Well, in this case he was walking. And it was only 2 days ago since he left.
Because I know that the second time that we did see him, he was here for a little longer. So unless I'm hoping he has gained the knowledge of what's happening with him. That's my only assumption. I don't obviously know.
Now, I won't lie to you. That small note and letter I passed you, I did read it. I do not mean to be intrusive of your affairs, but if a letter is handed to me, already from a person I am suspicious of and do not trust, I will make sure everything is above board before I see where it lies further.
Completely understandable. I'm personally happy that you've thought about our own safety. So,
Well, I opened it expecting slightly more tellings of action or something untoward, yet I did not understand you all were such fans of poetry and bardic limericks.
I'm going
I
to
will
look
pass
over
the
to
letter
Gerald.
over to Gerald. I think that's one for you.
I'll open up the note and see what I've got.
It is a very short note, only 4 lines,
Hmm.
and the letter reads, "My gratitude knows no bounds. Your services are not final. To find my employment, look no further than the fractal."
Look no further than the fractal. Nope, he's absolutely lost me. What the fuck is a fractal?
Berlin, do you know what a fractal is? Or if it's a location?
I don't know anything of a fractal. A location?
Would it be easier to mark it on the map that we have here? Is it a far location or is it in Brenton?
It is definitely not within Brenton.
Oh my goodness, more travelling.
Do you potentially have a map of Valdur at all?
We don't, do you? That we could possibly keep? If it's not very expensive, we can buy
And
it.
as he stands up, you notice the form is a lot taller than you expected, as he is pushing about 6'7". Broad-shouldered elf, pointy ears, and this posture is almost impeccable as he walks forward. And just off to the side, and you see him like open a small chest and begin to rummage around. You hear a lot of just flittering and flutters, like of just a lot of parchment on parchment. And he pulls it out as just a scrolled up piece of parchment. I've had this for a few years now.
Perfectly fine.
But if it will aid you more than sitting in that chest being untouched, I'll give it off to you.
Thank you. I'll unscroll it. I'll kind of like put something in. I'll put one of my hand axes on one side and the other hand axe on the other to kind of like keep it straight. I'm not gonna. I want to alert you that I'm not doing anything bad. You'll just see me do some gesturing, just so you're aware. I'm going to get the 2 lodestones out and I'm going to use mending on it, so if there's any rips or tears, it's going to kind of like... Just wanted to tell him so he doesn't shit himself.
A couple of the tears in the map, just like, you see the instant just...
Yeah.
And then you see a small hole just... into nothing. And you look upon this map, and it is incredible with the amount of detail and design that was etched onto this. And Bolin just looks over at you as you unfurl the map open.
Wow. It's a pretty big place, isn't it?
It's a very big world. Now,
Well, going to be slightly taken back by the vastness.
Now a fractal. Any location that I've heard, including that word, is within a small set of islands. Right here. And he just slams his finger down. Right here.
Wow.
They do be looking pretty fractured.
Yeah, so I was literally just about to do that. That's it. Nice one.
That is the only location I know that I've seen or heard of the word fractal being used. If you intend to go there, you must be very strong swimmers. Or get a ship.
Do you know where we could get a ship? Do you know how expensive a ship is? Would we need?
Alright, I'm pretty sure we can cover this.
Oh, yeah, it's true. Maybe. The big question is, I know there's a shipyard. I say reasonably close to Brenton. Because I don't actually know on how big Brenton is. In the vastness of this map. Because obviously your Brenton gods are fantastic and fully trained. I'm not liking anything funny. Would there be staff there that we could hire, or would it be possible for us to hire some Brenton staff? Do you know of any people that actually know how to work a ship, or has been at the sea?
I know a few.
Could you tell us so I can start to
Very well.
just it down?
Now, before I understand what kind of service you want for a ship, do you want a captain and team that know what they are doing, but more expensive, or ones that will just barely get you by, but might not be too experienced in uncertain circumstances?
I don't know about these two, Gerald and Rayloff. I think it's gonna. I have zero knowledge. To be honest, I didn't even know. I know there was a sea, but I didn't know that it was this much places. I personally want to travel everywhere.
Well, you're going to need a good ship for that.
So I'm thinking in the cause of if we get a captain and a good crew that know what they're doing, we don't have to worry. And would they be able to kind of look after the ship and we can travel kind of when and if we want?
Depending on if they have any other jobs or destinations they must arrive at, I wouldn't see it to be a problem, at least for you to ask them.
I think that would be a good call, and also because between friends, we're thinking about going into the I want to say landlord, but if we purchased the ship and then got the crew to actually work the ship, we could buy multiple ships, and then we could have it come from them.
You could start your very own business empire.
We could do that, but I feel like the plan would be we would have a good captain with good crew and to do at least this, and then we can see where we go from there. I know I'm just bringing out ideas, but if you guys can agree.
If that's the case.
I would like to just ask this question. What if we already have the ship, and we just need the crew to come with us? Are there people willing to do that?
You would need to let the crew and the captain understand that ship, if you already have one. First, let them get acquainted before they take you out to sea where it may be dangerous, and they need to know where everything is aboard.
Gerald, I have an idea of what you're talking about. We'll discuss it a little bit more away from. Only because I think I know what you're thinking, and we could use maybe a smaller ship when we need to.
Yes,
possibly,
we
but
do
I
only
don't.
look at small options.
Nothing for you to worry about, Olin. Don't worry.
I wasn't worrying.
Oh, well, I know you wouldn't. It's just in case you're curious.
Then if you're looking for a solid captain and a good crew, head south. Down south of Brenton. Just barely at the border, and you'll find the shoreline and the docks, or the southern docks. It's only a small pier. Don't get too much traffic around here. Go find Captain Meadow. And tell them that I sent you to them.
Could we get this in writing if that's possible? And if you make it official, have you got a stamp?
I do not have a stamp.
Damn. If you ever get a stamp, please use it. That would be really sick.
Make me a
I would
stamp.
like one for myself. I don't even know what a stamp is made out of.
Neither do I. Find someone.
But if you ever have one,
Find someone who makes stamps. Get them to make me a stamp, and I shall use that stamp.
amazing.
What is Britain known for? Like, do you have any exports or produce?
Not really. We can supply certain people, travelers, merchants. We are vastly into trade, but that is more on the lines of tradesmen coming to us as opposed to trade leaving Brenton. So, just a calm, small settlement. Not really known for any large amounts of work.
Then I have a small idea, and Carol's actually going to just open up his book at like the back pages, and is going to start drawing a very basic design essentially at the moment. I'll let people talk for about whilst I'm
Yeah, you're
scribbling.
sketching.
Yeah.
Could we get that in writing? If that's possible. Obviously without the stamp.
I'll hand over the. I can't remember what the quill's called now. It's just going. Kumquat's quill.
Yeah.
That's all.
But could you do it twice for me? One so we can give, and another one so if we see anything that has got your name on, we could try to what's it up to make sure it's definitely come from you and not from some other person, if that's possible. And if you make sure that your signature is on it, because no one's going to be able to forge that.
Well, if someone can forge handwriting, they can forge a signature.
It's true, but they make little mistakes where if I know it's come from you.
And he just puts the quill to his side. If I gave you a piece of paper that had a scribble on it and said it was my signature, you'd believe it was my signature, wouldn't you?
Because it's come from you, yes.
Because I have handed it to you.
That's the one.
But how can you be sure that I haven't forged somebody else's signature in the process?
That would be trust. I trust that you wouldn't.
Exactly. So, ask me once, and trust in me that I will give you what I think you need.
Oh, I know. I do trust you. What I think you'll get. What?
Then, it is.
I'm saying for our second use, for just in case this, what we previously talked about.
I understand what you're asking for, Tara. It's quiet time now.
I may be young, I'm not a child, but I appreciate what you're doing.
You are no child, then you understand quiet time.
I do.
And he goes to writing and scrawling with a kumquat's quill on some parchment. I, Lordkeeper Bolin of Brenton, preside my justice over this party, the Companions of Fate. Allow them access to what they need, and keep them safe on the waters ahead. Bolin. And you do see him like about to give it to you then, like his eyes, and his eyes just click. I will keep it Bolin. And starts repeating it.
Yeah.
And signs both of them. Your quill.
Thank you. Put it back in the.
And your 2 letters from me. You may now speak, Tara.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And you may not, because I have finished this. Right. And so, how do you like the idea of this? And I'm going to bring up, so what it's good to see is a few dunes essentially coming across the sort of center. It is all within a circle. And then coming out from in between the dunes, I've done like a very, the entrance to the Temple of Nesviti, with then some basic lines depicting more sunlight coming off. It's only a crude drawing, but if there's nothing else particularly of interest around, maybe the temple, some dunes, a nice, classy, simple stamp that we could have produced.
I like the idea. You're saying I should have this as my own stamp or seal?
Whatever you decide with it, really. I merely just came up with the design.
Roll a persuasion check.
That's a 15.
This temple and the sunlight coming off. I'm a very big fan of this design. How much do I owe you for this?
Perhaps a small levy of the charge of our friend, and I shall pay whatever sum you say immediately.
You have all done good by me so far, and I am happy to reduce the amount in that young man's bail. So, as opposed to the original 375, for the design and all the information you've brought to me, and for what you have done with my men, 250 gold pieces is his charge.
I shall immediately bring out the case and actually bring out majority of the gold and set it onto the table.
I did not expect you to do this so suddenly.
I did say immediately.
A man of action. Very well. As he grabs the gold and he puts it, you notice he doesn't put it in his own coin purse or anything. He leans over and he grabs like a small chest that looks partly well used, but is almost so separate in design from any other chests. You can tell it's like the one that he rarely interacts with, as he opens it and just pours the coin in. Very well. So, when you see your ally, just tell him that I require him to approach me once more and apologize for the situation and the matter that he is involved in. But other than that, he is free to go, and under no arrest or warrant within Brenton.
We thank you for that.
And speaking of actions, there's also one other thing we found while out in the deserts. In the temple that we had seen, where we met with Bar, the ogre, we found a strange device, this orb of arcane, and, well, the monstrosity, the husks that were out in the desert were defending it. We had fought them off, and by luck, if we're all honest, and I'm just going to glare balefully at Gerald.
We're alive, are we not?
By luck, we managed to deactivate the device, and the husks seem to be gone. All of them.
Well, that is very good news. That all of these monstrosities that littered the wastes are no more. As far as your device is concerned, a few months ago, we all watched as a small group of 3 set off on the road towards that temple to investigate more. Eric being one of them. And at some time in the night or the morning after they had left, or in the week that followed their departure, there was a large beam of light that shot into the sky, miles and miles and miles away, probably to where your device was, or the temple was. And ever since, anywhere past dusk was a death sentence to go out in the respite. So I appreciate that you have amended that concern. A lot of traders will be on their knees thanking you very soon, if you were to tell them.
Did you see any beams of lights the last few days?
No.
It's from what we had found, and admittedly we're not sure how truthful this is, but we believe that it is Eric's group, or possibly just Eric on his own, that was the ones who had caused the husks to appear in the first place. Though we're not certain on how true that is.
So, you're telling me 2 men and a woman, just those 3 are the only thing that was behind all of these husks, killing numerous traders and merchants and people?
All we have to go off of at the minute, and from word of mouth and from what we've found so far.
I believe I remember they said that it might have been even an accident.
Who said?
Or one of these, the person that we encountered, he
And
seemed
who
to
are
have
they?
worked a lot with Eric. I believe his name was Duke, I believe, but he seemed a bit fishy with his name. I got another name out of him, but I don't know if you know him. Let me try to remember.
He is the Leonin,
Yeah, so
as we
what's his name?
he also wields these strange weapons, but we haven't seen him use anything quite as effective as the one who had attacked us.
Fairly small, but they have a range.
He helped us kill. Well, he actually went off to kill. Not Mogrush. Cruel. While we were fighting Mogrush. He also, well, I don't know how truthful this is, but he also told us he would send word to the town to defend against a possible attack, or just to increase defense in general.
We had no word sent to us. I had placed more guards on the gates after I had sent more of my men out, leaving less here. With no return from my men, I thought it better be safer and more prepared on the gates.
I knew he wasn't just a cool cat. There was more to him.
Archibald.
Archibald.
That's the name he gave me.
It's a very strange name.
Duke might have been a fake name, that's what I was...
They give you a second name?
Well, you know that time that you guys were moaning at me for getting a name? It was a few weeks ago. Anyways, you were all moaning at me. I managed to get that name out of him. He was actually... I actually believed that was his name, and Duke is a fake name.
I remember hearing the name of an Archibald who accompanied Eric.
Gonna turn round. Happy.
AB relates Archibald very well.
That's what I was thinking.
Archibald Valentine. His father lived here before him, although his father was known to be just as much of a recluse and shut away, or shut in, as Eric and Archibald had been for months.
Oh, now I've just got more questions.
Yeah. Do you know his relation towards Eric? Do you know if it was a positive one or a very negative?
I did not push into their relationship, whatever that was.
Okay. Because he seemed very angry when we last saw him. And his anger was aiming towards Eric. Maybe for what he's done or what he had done. That I'm not 100% sure on how much information is true now.
If any.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know. Obviously, you know Eric a lot more than us, so...
You say I know him much more.
Than us?
I knew of what Eric used to be, but now Eric is just a lonely recluse who's hidden away in his home for months.
Well, yeah.
If
Does this mean that we go exploring then?
We could try to find that. Try to find him. Go to his household.
assuming Duke or Archibald hasn't already found them.
I still wonder what happened to the young lady that was with those two.
As far as we're aware, she perished.
By Eric's accidental hands. But again, that's only from what we've heard from Archibald's mouth.
Well, I'd assume that Archibald would be speaking the truth if his own sister's life was to fall flat.
You know any name of his sister at all?
Clarabelle. Clarabelle Ballantyne. She was such a sweet girl when she was growing up. So smart, but a little bit brazen and too honest at times. But she was really something compared to her brother, who was... He never really spoke when he was younger. Intelligent, very, very intelligent. Just as much, if not more so than her. But so quiet and unsure of his place. Although, he always... Whereas she was very independent from their father when they were growing up, and she was always out playing with her own friends and wandering around just barely outside the city, obviously against their father's rules. But she would happily do what she wanted and be very strong-headed in what she wanted. Whereas Archibald always had this very unusual sense of reliability on her, and this undying need to be with her and around her all the time, almost unable to be alone himself. But maybe that's just some siblings are more dependent on others and others more independent, I assume.
Do I believe we have taken up all of your time now? I believe this party needs to investigate a few things now.
I believe you have taken some of my time, my map, and my kind favors, but you have given me plenty back in kind, and I feel this relationship will be a very, very fruitful one.
Definitely. If we do find any more information, we'll try our best to obviously give you it.
I would appreciate that.
Well, goodbye, I suppose.
Oh, before you leave as well, next time you see Sierra, just
Yes.
to the far southeastern end of town, or southwestern part of town, just let him know that we are making inquiries as to the mystical co-power that he had seen before.
Excellent.
It mentioned that.
I have gone to speak to him since, and I have noticed just how much of blood loss he is sustaining because of someone's most radical idea. He didn't tell me who, but he has somehow got it in his head that his blood can be sold.
Yes, we have also warned him against this.
As you should. He is a very good person, a very good salesman, and brings in a lot of trade and tourism to our parts. It would be very unfortunate if he were to perish. So,
Yes, and that chair just looks a bit too barbaric in the midst of all his shop.
it is a disgusting sight.
I do have a question. If for some reason he would relocate,
Yes.
where would you prefer him?
If he were to leave, where would I prefer him?
Yeah.
In Brenton.
If there was another location, if you enjoy his company in Brenton, if you were able to relocate him to another place.
It is not for me to relocate my citizens. It is for their own free choice and will to move as they see fit.
But if he were to freely want to move to a different location,
Yes.
is there a prime point that you would think would bring the most tourism? The most,
For
you know what I
Sierra.
mean.
Or he has
Yes,
easy
and-
access to get back to Brenton. That's
Yes.
awesome.
Depending on the travel, there's a lot of tourism and a lot of coin that washes through Ashalai's stand in Ferris Weir.
I'm definitely gonna get some of these names wrong.
This is probably
Okay.
a
Even though it's
difficult
on the
question,
map,
but do you
return.
know if there is any larger shops he may buy? This is one of the things Terra was on about. We were investing in.
You're investing in the trade.
Yeah, we've actually invested in Sierra.
You are a very weird group. But I
Well,
admire how steadfast you are.
He certainly gave us a lot of things that have helped us in the desert. So if we can get more of that, that's definitely a good thing.
He is a very good person.
It's
It's a shame his wife left him.
Yes, do you know the reason why for that exactly? It was a bit awkward to ask at the time.
So from what Sierra has drunkenly told me before, years and years ago, about 4 or 5 years ago, he went out to the tavern and his wife apparently walked in on him getting his face tasted by a strange mercenary tabaxi. And since then, regardless of his own rebuttal against the argument, she was very stuck to the idea that he had been unfaithful. Regardless of everybody else's testimonies of how much Sierra was trying to push away this figure and laugh it off in a joke and not partake. She almost seemed readily convinced herself. So, between us, I assumed that she was having a go at somebody else, or a few other people anyway. Otherwise, you would, in my mind, be more forgiving to your partner.
Yes.
If everyone else had told you you weren't partaking in it, and it was more like someone pushing it on you and you were pushing it away, I personally wouldn't see that as, an offense to leave upon.
Do you know the name? Do you know her name? Is it something Sundry?
His ex-wife.
Yes.
Am I just being stupid? You've already told us, haven't you? Yes, very stupid. No worries. So it's because he was thinking about changing the name of the shop. You see.
His wife's name, or she always introduced herself as Sun, but her full name was Sundriel.
Thank you. It's just in case we encounter her, we know by name. It'd be nice to.
It wouldn't be nice for you to meet her, would it?
What? One? No. But it's nice to know that we know more names. Anyways, we're gonna go.
I'm glad you have taken up some more of my time, but it has been pleasant. I'm glad to see all of you in one piece.
It's nice to see that you're well.
Very
I hope
tired,
you can
but well.
get some rest.
I will try my best.
But yes, it's very nice seeing you. I hope all the best.
Just so I know what you have in mind for my town. What do you plan on doing next?
I would imagine the first thing we want to do is find out more about Eric, if we can.
I agree.
I warn you, he may be a little jumpy.
Other than that,
Possibly.
we were going to
pirates.
inspect your mills as well. Ways to look at the architecture, though.
Very well.
I think the main thing that would be the pirates.
Yes,
To
Sierra
investigate
did
them more.
warn us that the pirates were coming in from the south as well.
We've had a few pirates and seamen come on to Brenton for a while, and they caused slight havoc. Nothing nothing so crazy it wasn't fixable. But I would like it if they didn't attend our taverns and have 20 or 30 free ales. That is a lot of
Steal
coin
money,
that Brenton
yes.
is losing out on.
We'll definitely try to solve that.
Especially if this mysterious Kapala is the pirate we're looking after as well.
Sierra told me of the magical Kopara that gifted him treasure and bounty. I thought he was just a little bit drunk, or affected by the blood loss, more so than anything.
Definitely got gold from somewhere.
Let's note it down as blood loss and maybe a very generous passerby.
Yes.
Well, keep me updated if you are to find anything else that may impact Brenton, or if you plan to leave at any point. Just come by and wish me a farewell.
We will.
Very well. Have a good rest of the day, and try to let me sleep.
Well, we will try.
And he just gestures for the doors.
Yeah. We'll move this.
I'll leave the crossbow on the table, facing like opposite everyone.
Yeah.
While he's doing that, I'll grab my stool and his and Raylos's stool and put them back where the stools were. And then I'll bail as well.
I'm sorry, if I may impart you with a small gift to help you. Do you have a trinket or something that you'd like to take to your chambers?
A trinket of mine.
It doesn't have to be yours per se. In fact, you know what? You can have one of mine. It's fine. And I'm just going to bring out literally like a necklace or something, and is then going to cast Unearthly Chorus upon to emit from the necklace, and it's just going to be like a nice, slow little violin and flute music sort of coming through, very low level, and just hand it to him. And be like, that's made just help suffice for the starting moments.
That, my friend, It's absolutely beautiful.
You're welcome.
I will see you again soon.
Bye.
And the doors.
Just before the door shuts, I'm going to say to Gerald, I thought I was meant to be kissing his ass.
And the doors close.
Shut a bit harder.
But you all now stand outside the lower house with the stables opposite and the rest of the town ahead of you. The guards kind of look at you and both nod towards you as they still stand attentive and just look off in the distance, looking at everything else but you. You do hear a slight voice. Hello?
Hi.
And you see a small gnomish figure from the stables with a small cane walk over. Hello. You rented a cart from us just a while ago, and I was told that upon arrival you would be returning it to our establishment.
Yes, and didn't we recently pay for that along with some horses?
We actually paid. Yeah.
I have had no coin through to me or to the stables in the past few days.
Well, we've not long arrived, and we paid just before we saw goalkeeper bowling.
There has been no money that has come through my stable.
Might insight him onto that, please.
Yeah?
That's 10.
He is just like very strongly and adamantly honest and almost desperate at the point of trying to get payment and being told you're not getting it. So, have you set the cart and the horses elsewhere for now? Or
Yes.
what?
We left them at a temple and then we found some faster transportation back. But if you're the stable owner, who was the person we paid?
You paid somebody? Who did you
paid-
pay?
Let's try and remember who we paid, but I did not write down
Yeah,
the
I didn't write it down either. This is literally just what I was trying to find.
So?
Do you have any stable hands at all?
Possibly a dwarf.
I have my sons. And if you can tell by me, they are clearly not dwarves.
Oh, you are joking.
So you have not returned the horse and cart. What do you wish to do with it?
How much to buy the horse and carts?
You want to buy the cart and the horses that we had loaned out to you.
Oh.
Yes.
It's easy enough.
I would assume so.
That means a lot more work for me and my sons to build a new cart that anyone wants, and then also make sure the other horses that are slowly getting stronger are strong enough to ride. You know what? You know what?
We heard
Just
the spear.
to cover all of the time that my horses and cart have been away from me and their home, and for the perils you have left them to, out in the Crawler's Respite, I will say 4 gold pieces to buy everything. I'm sorry, but that is the price you're going to have to pay.
That's understandable. We do apologise. But just in case this is the same deception that we had before, do you have any proof that you're there?
Any proof that I am where?
That you're from your stables? Just in case this is another. You might be thinking, why is she asking this?
Yes, why are you asking this?
It's because we have paid someone. But what I'm saying is we have
By
been
the gods.
deceived.
Stand here then.
We will.
Fools asking if I own the place. And he just hobbles off.
Yeah.
A couple moments go by, and he comes back out. Not that I ever should have to show or prove what I own or what business I do. But
I
here,
know.
and he just like pushes it into your chest, like just
Okay.
hard, but like not enough to like push you back at all. But you can tell he's really trying to just fucking hammer it home.
Fucking annoyed.
And you look, and it is a legally binding deed of ownership and business of the Brenton stables, signed by Lordkeeper Bolin.
Fantastic. And nicely. Here you go. Thank you very much.
Has that surprised you enough?
I'm just worried about deception. Like it says, we have been.
It is not my fault if you are all too stupid and too foolish to pay somebody else based on the words that come out of their mouth. Now, you owe me 4 gold. I would like to have that now.
Let me just make sure I have enough.
I'm just going to get 4 gold over.
Thank you very much. Our business is concluded. Enjoy the cart and the horses, wherever they may be.
Thank you. We will.
And he just moses off and huffingly, like, fucking sticking his cane into the ground.
When he's far enough earshot away that he won't be able to hear what I'm going to say, I'm going to turn around to the guys and say, if we were to buy the horses in the first place and not hire them, wouldn't we have had to do all this process before?
Yes, but it's just their way of complaining, isn't it?
Maybe so.
And to get more gold out of people.
If we see that person, we are taking the gold back. Not that person. Just want to clarify. The person that we initially give money to, we're taking it back. We might take
Maybe
a
we
more
should
to give
definitely
them
make
that
sure
as a compensation.
we're talking to the right person.
Oh,
next time.
100%. Yeah.
Because
I
I
didn't do
definitely
anything
remember.
wrong, did I? By asking for,
Well, I suppose from our side, maybe not, but
from hindsight, yeah. Well, unless we only speak to him next time. I know he hates it, at least me.
I'm
You
pretty
guys
sure he
know.
puts us all in the same boat.
Yeah.
pretty sure I remember him from before as well, from the stables.
Even so, we're only talking to him now.
Speaking of buying transportation whilst we're here, are we not going to use the folding boat that we have?
Yes. So my thought process when you brought it up was, in case we need a boat, once it's
not be better to be discussed somewhere else, not just in the middle of the street?
where do you have a place that we can go?
I mean, can we walk to the mill?
We could. But are we still in real lost terms, still in the open? We can't talk about it in the tavern because there's obviously going to be more people there. We can we can at least go towards the mill now.
Yeah, let's head that way at least.
Yeah.
Alright, and as you all slowly begin to make your way towards the more like dead center, maybe slightly western end of Brenton, where there are a couple mill towers set up, and you begin to make your way towards that area with Eric to be seen with a folding boat to sort out, and with everything else going on in your minds of what to do next, what could go on, and what might happen. All running around in your head as you just mosey on down to the mill. And that's where we're going to take a quick break and come back in just a few minutes. But we just want to thank everyone for sticking around and watching. We hope you're enjoying it. Take this break time, go to the bathroom, go get snackies, whatever you need to do. Don't forget to follow all of our social media and Twitter and all that fun shit. But we will we'll head off for just a short break, but we'll be here in just a little while. So we'll see you again then. Okay, as we come back into the game, the party have just arrived at Brenton and spoken with Sierra and then recently Lawkeeper Bolin, updating him on all the information of the Herons and their journey, and curious information being thrown around regarding your ally Duke, who is currently still missing. However, you have exchanged coin, gifts, information, and a lot of compliments from Tara. And you have now left, and after being slightly swindled again by the stables, you all begin to make your way towards one of the mills inside Branton, towards the western side. So, as you're all walking through Branton, is there anything you want to do?
I'm going to bring this up then on the... Yeah. I'm not sure... Well, no one's going to be obviously, like, listening in on the conversations, I believe it is, right? But... So, as we have a boat, can get this all sorted, do we honestly want to buy one?
It was just the thought of if we would have a staff on the boat and they could use it for trade, and then we could get some passive income from them. But then obviously we have a boat when we need it with staff.
But if we're relying on them for the maintenance and being able to move the boat, if we then... we won't have the skills. We can't move the boat. If you get where I'm going now.
True, but they'd be our crew. So we would just tell them to move the boat.
Yes, but you're wanting this boat as an emergency measure.
Then we have one. The pull-up boat.
Exactly, but we can't sail. So we still need a crew.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. If we have a boat that they use for our income, and we have a staff that can productively use it.
Yes,
And
and
then
when
we have
they're
a
not
boat
here, and we need to use a boat, we have
Then-
the unfoldable boat, but no crew. So we can't sail.
It's true, but while we're with them, we can try to learn, and hopefully, I'm thinking that we're not going to be twiddling our thumbs. That when it comes to the part where we need a ship, and they're not here, we can pull out the foldable one and give it a go. I don't know massively on how big this ship goes.
It's fairly big, if I remember rightly.
But if we only need it for 4 of us, possibly 5, I don't feel like it's going to be crazy hard.
It will definitely hold 3 times that amount.
So if we can learn from a big ship, having a smaller ship will be better.
Your choices are rowboat with 2 oars or big ship.
To be honest, I know so little about ships. It's probably best off you deciding what to do, because that's what I thought.
Gerald, for the foldable ship,
Yeah.
does it say on what size the ship is?
It says it is 24 foot long and holds comfortably 15 medium creatures.
Yeah. So you would need, let's say it's less than a galleon. It's more so like a the name eludes me. Kind of like a larger fishing boat. However, fitting 15 with it being 24 feet long, that would need around the base of about, at least for you know, as you're talking with Tara, about 8 crew, 8 people to man and man the ship to be able for it to actually function properly enough.
There's also the rowboat on the patches, the 12-foot one.
The other one, that's a 10-foot one. That does
Okay,
have
so it's 3
four.
seconds.
It does have anchor, mast, lantern, and sail, and can hold up to 4 medium creatures comfortably.
So that would probably be what we would want to use, really.
On a quick escape, that's what I'm thinking. I like pure off meta game. I 100% agree with what you're saying, but I'm saying that if it comes to an emergency and where we're going to go, we're going to have to collapse a ship with them not being on it, or they're going to have to follow us. And then I'm thinking, well, if they get a ship and go back or go to some, we're going to have constantly different crew that we're going to have to put more. We're going to have trust in just enough to know that they're not going to fuck us over, or they could be pirates. That's what I'm thinking. But I don't know, because my character has only seen the sea. I didn't know on how big the fucking sea is, so.
Fair enough.
I'm gonna basically take your word on whatever you think.
Yeah, we just say that we're arguing all the way up to the mill at this rate.
Yeah, that's completely fine.
Probably.
Yeah. You continue this argument. Yeah, you continue this argument all up until you find yourselves standing and looking up at these colossal mills with the windmill blades just slowly turning. And just at the grounds there is like some like small rough patches of farmland with fairly surprisingly bountiful crops growing out.
I'm going to try to find, or what looks very similar to the small gear that I looked at, to see if any part of this mill looks like it could.
You're outside the mill right now.
Well, I'm assuming that the massive mill has like a wind thing on it.
Yeah.
If there's anything that looks like that gear on the outer part, I'm going to just see if it looks like it's important.
Okay. Right now you can see no cogs on the exterior of the building.
Then I see nothing.
Are there any workers around us that we got?
You see a couple gnomes, a few dwarves. You see a halfling that seems to be kind of like the go-to person, as like some of the workers are coming to him, and you see him kind of like just pointing out and patting him on the back and sending him off to do certain jobs around.
Ah, nice. Then I'll go to the halfling. Hello there.
Hello.
So, it's going to be a very odd question, but can I look inside your mill? I'm very interested in how it's put together.
And why do you want to see my mill?
I need expertise on how to build something, but I'm not quite sure on how to put it together.
Well, persuasion check.
As I'm doing this. So, as I look, I hope to find some inspiration from the mill, knowing there's plenty of cogs around the place. Or the wheels. That's 23.
Well, you know, if it's for creative purposes, then I'm more than happy for you to go in and have a little tinkle around.
Thank you.
But just so I know that you're not going to be stealing from me, or anything untoward, I think it's fair to say a name for a name builds trust. So, what are your names?
My name is Gerald.
Very laugh.
You can call me Tara.
Well, isn't that just a fine little bunch of people? My name's Bromley Sprout, and it's very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Are any of you curious on wanting to work on a farm or a mill?
It's not particularly my taste, I'm not going to lie.
That's fine. I was just wondering. There's always positions open.
I quite like your farm.
Do you want to work for me?
I'm quite busy at the moment.
Oh, that's all right then. Well,
If
if any of you ever need any work and you're good with your hands, especially you big guy, we got some haystacks around the back that could really use with lifting. Just come to Sprout and I'll sort you out.
fantastic.
But yeah, follow me. I'll get you into the mill.
Thanks.
And you quickly just...
I suppose does this also include temporary work whilst we're doing this?
Well, that depends on the contract, really. That depends if it's a fixed term or a temporary term, whatever it may be. Right, so the mill's just in here. Don't touch anything, don't press anything, and don't get too close to the mechanism, otherwise you can get sucked in and get crushed.
Thanks for the warning.
You're welcome.
And oh, sorry, before you go.
Yes.
Is there an easy way to get up, or...?
You want to get to the top?
Well, I can make it, but if there is an easier way up, yes?
Well, you see, we have these things, and it's a weird contraption. We have these things called ladders, and we've got one set just on the far wall, way at the back, and it'll go all the way up to this little platform that just sits at the top.
See, that's all I needed. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll be out to you if you need anything.
So, right. With this, I'm going to start my inspection of a mill.
Okay, roll an investigation check for me.
Yeah, I was going to say I'll probably have a quick cheeky check as well.
Yeah, sure, roll
I'm
an
gonna look
investigation
first
check.
here.
Yeah, okay. Roll for a perception check. And as you all enter the mill, you just... all you hear is like a constant... with this weird constant like grind of just like every now and then just like a little like just squeak of wood on wood, but you hear this constant just as you look in, and it's dimly lit with only a couple windows just letting a few shafts of light in, but you see like on the base of the ground this huge, like exactly what you're looking for, Tara. This colossal, about 12 feet, around 12 feet diameter, of a cog, of a large wooden cog, slowly turning in the center, and a couple more cogs just on their sides, latched onto it and turning off of it. And you see those reacting to a large beam that goes all the way up to the top. But yeah, that has like a weird, like riveted, sort of like jagged cog around the entire thing at the bottom of it. And you see that post as well, just turning slowly. And at the top, even more cogs connect that weird vertical spin to a more horizontal spin at the top. And a couple more before you see it poking out, and this large, probably about 5 feet around cog is just at the precipice of the edge of the building, where there's like a large like skylight knocked out for where the cog fits in and attaches to those large blades to spin it. It's intense and a lot to take in. 17, and Gerald?
Non-natural 20.
Non-natural 20, nice. So, Gerald and Rayloff, both of you, what are you looking for this whole investigation check?
So as I've inspected around, I'm looking at like how the cogs essentially being able to work together, join together, and then in other cases have, instead of course the pole put through them and stuff like that. I'm looking for inspiration for how the parts could fit together and actually start to make some semblance of a moving thing.
Okay.
Without any particular, of course, let's for instance say that it is a gun that we are trying to make, not knowing of course about the whole powder or explosion or forcing out or anything on that side.
Just all the clockwork stuff.
Yeah, you could make a clockwork stuff, you could actually put stuff together.
Yeah. Okay.
And maybe make a semblance of, this could be an invention.
Yeah. And Rayloff, what are you looking for?
Probably same again, just how the actual mechanism channels the movement through the gears and how it all interlocks.
So Rayloff, you very quickly understand after you get your head around like some cogs moving clockwise and the other anti-clockwise, then some turned on their sides horizontal and then others vertical. Some standing vertical and the others laying horizontal. It's weird, but once you wrap your head around it, you do start to understand, like, okay, well, that's turning that way, that'll activate this to turn the other way. And you start feeling like you're comfortable understanding how these things link together. And Gerald, you get the same information as Rayoff did. However, on top of that, with a non-natural 20, you figure that irrelevant, like you start finding small little things like small cogs being able to turn vastly immense cogs compared to it, just barely touching the same teeth, rotating round. You start to get an understanding of how you can have different cogs in different positions, yet get them to fit and attach fairly comfortably, and once they get going, it's continuous. It's not just work and then potentially break quickly. It is sturdy and very precise clockwork. I'd say you come out of this having a way better understanding, and the hardest part is going to be translating it to the smaller gears and the cogs, but you at least find plenty of information from all of this inside the mill to probably have a fairly good chance at maybe even building part of the clockwork machinery that is inside whatever item you have.
As we're going around, they go, "Hey, can you actually think what was this word? The rotary? There we are. AB rotary Mark II. There's a lot of rotary parts in here. Lara, are you just staying down there? You're just scared of the heights now.
I probably would have just initially, when I started on the ground, tried to look for this gear.
Mm-hmm.
I probably would have seen that is a lot of just the small ones at the top, but that big ass gear that you said that I saw. Was
Yeah, so you see no cogs or gears identical to the small one you have in your hand.
Yeah,
You find almost if you used enlarge to enlarge the cog in your hand, it would
still be dwarfed.
It would still be slightly dwarfed, but it wouldn't be. It would possibly fit in this mechanism.
Yeah.
But it's just the cogs in this are all wooden, and they're expertly made, but they are not as finely worked as these metal gears that have been forged and pressed and chiseled away at to get the most precise teeth and lines. Yeah,
of course. I'll come up. I think that part that I pulled out of the box was very important. I'll start climbing up the ladders to
yeah. That's okay. Yeah, you make it up the ladders, and looking down on this, you're about 35 feet up, and it's a little bit daunting seeing all these gears and the entire like pole that goes from the bottom to the top all turning and spinning different directions.
Yeah,
It's
this
immense.
is definitely very important. I don't think we should mess anything up. I feel like
that was
one of
implied.
these, and maybe like, I don't think you could use that one over there. I don't think it would work. Like, obviously pointing out a bigger one and a smaller one.
Yeah.
Like, if you're gonna try and do what, like, put it together, or try to, I think it's got to be right, or it's wrong.
But do you think if we start messing with our metal set, we're going to make something entirely new, make what was originally intended, Or it's going to blow up in our faces.
Yes.
I
Thank you,
Rayloff,
Alan.
you said yes to three questions.
Yes.
Is that okay? One, I think there is a possibility that we make something that wasn't intended. Two, we get lucky, and we do make something that was intended. And three, if it's true that, did you think that it might be something that Duke had? If it's a weapon, wouldn't he need that black powder for it to make the dangers he made? If we don't, well, I personally don't really know what it is.
Assuming it's another projectile thing, then maybe.
You might need that to actually cause some damage.
I think that's for
But what I'm
launching.
saying is, I don't actually think you'll do anything bad. It just might not work.
Well, then if it stays together, I can't complain.
So rail off one of those, or is a no?
Well, that depends on if there's black powder in there.
Yeah, but we can check. We could just not put it in.
There's-
If we find out where we have to put it in.
Well, hunting down another expert on firearms would probably help us. Then.
True, but
Preferably one that may not shoot us.
it's true, but apart from Duke and the person that shot, well, he could not be. I haven't seen any weapons like this before, apart from them using it. It might be new. Have you seen anyone use weapons like that?
Not personally.
On the ship
see.
I was on, they did have some similar looking weapons. A couple by their sides.
So maybe the person we asked could be the captain.
Hmm.
I do remember back in Jotunheim, nearer the main city, I saw a group of guards patrolling around. They had something similar to what Duke uses, though.
We're talking of the
Whether it-
single shot one as well, like the pirate
Definitely single
manhunt.
shot, though. There was no some sort of metal clip going into it. It just seemed to have something loaded into it singly.
Okay.
I'm not really sure what they were, but I only saw them the once.
Well, off the map, Jotunheim's a very far distance away.
Yeah.
So I think the best person to ask would probably be the captain, saying they're actually close to Brenton. Worst case scenario, we could always go to Jotunheim.
That's assuming we managed to find whoever it was that was using it.
Well, it's true, but if it's in our hands, it's not in theirs.
But speaking of guns and firearms, what do we do about Eric
Duke?
and Duke?
Oh, Eric and Duke.
What exactly is our plan? Because I am fairly certain Duke or whatever his true name is.
We'll
If it
just
is
say
Luke,
Duke for now.
I'm more than certain he's probably going after Eric.
That is true. If Duke's words were right, and the stuff that Eric has done to Duke, I feel like what he does is probably going to be better for Duke. Obviously not for Eric. But I feel like if it comes to the part where Brenton suffers, not to the point of Eric departing this place, but more in the aspect of Duke starts to harm people from Brenton. If we then stepped in, we are not only helping Brenton, we're getting rid of the problem of Duke being bad, if it comes to that.
Well, you say that, but Duke already seems to have attacked someone from Brenton, or someone who is visiting Brenton.
Well, what Belden was trying to say, well, I assume he's saying, is that it might have even been Duke that killed the 20 guards. If so, he's already made the problem. We just have to kind of confirm. But the thing is Duke doesn't know we know.
Unless he's leading us little clues.
Maybe.
If he's leading us on, why would he want us to know?
Maybe he wants to fight.
Or maybe he just wants us to believe in him for when he does something that looks questionable. He
Maybe
does seem to be of two minds at sorts, does he not? Do you
I
not
felt
see?
like that way. It seemed a bit fishy when he shot Theron.
And it was a lot on his terms. When his things go wrong, that's when it becomes more unpredictable.
So if we play it as we don't know anything, keep the Duke we know.
Could work out.
Possibly even try to disarm him. I know he has 2 weapons, but one out of his hands is always better.
He has 3, remember.
The one less is always better. And we've seen him use it, so there's a chance that we can have at least one shot back. Maybe not a good one, but it's one shot less on him.
And I suppose if we could stop him from killing Eric straight away. Because otherwise, that is the only other witness we have.
That is true. So really, we should be going straight to Eric's house after here.
It's either that, or we can try and put together the machine. How fast do you think Duke will track him down?
I feel like he'll try to track him down as quick as possible. That's my thought. We could see if we could try to work it out here, but don't we need to go back to Sierra for the parts?
Yes. We can't just also start making a random machine in the middle of a mill. They might actually call the guards again.
It's true. I think we're best off just going to Eric's and then hoping that Duke isn't doing anything stupid.
Or has done something stupid. Well, we should start heading off then.
You see, just through the one shaft of light from the open doorway, it becomes clouded with a silhouette as you see Bromley just like peeking in. Hey there, folks. How's it going?
Ah, hello. Well, it is a magnificent mill. Well, thank you so much for letting us have a look at
Very
this.
much so.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome back anytime. If you want any work, we can sort you out with a very good, very nicely, very comfortable fixed contract or temporary contract if you may not be here for too long. We always need some manual hands, but I'm glad you enjoyed the mill. I hope you learned something, and you're welcome back anytime at all.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
I do want to leave you with a little parting gift of knowledge.
Okay.
I grab my half staff. I'm going to use Druidcraft to allow me to see a tiny harmless sentry effect that predicts the weather what the weather will be at your location for the next 24 hours. The effect might manifest as a golden orb for clear skies, a cloud for rain, falling snowflakes for snow, and so on. And the effect persists for 1 round.
All right.
Yeah,
You see the sphere just like fluttering in between all the colours before it turns into a solid sphere of a matte grey.
Okay, so this is predicting that it's going to be cloudy. And
Okay.
I'm going to say you're going to get hopefully plenty of rain.
Well, that'd be
Yeah,
nice. I mean, we don't
yeah.
really get all that too often here.
No. But if you have any water kegs, I would suggest bringing them outside to get some free glorious rainwater.
Right. Well, thank you very much for the tip. I will get all my watering tins out and see what we can muster up.
Fantastic. And when's your harvest season?
My harvesting season. Oh. And you just see him kind of like thinking, and then he goes to a small little notepad just out of his pocket. Well, the high harvest tide is just around anywhere between the 6th to the 21st or so of Elaine. So not for a few more months now, but as soon as Elaine comes by, we will be ready for the autumn equinox, which is usually the high harvest time of most vegetables and flowers and such.
Perfect. I would, if we're ever here, I would love to see your harvest.
Yeah, that would be phenomenal. And I mean, we can always use some extra hands as well. You know, harvesting them out, or maybe even just putting them on display to sell and to market and to trade. So if you are around Elaine, then come by and just remind me who you are, because as sharp as this little sprout is, he's not always the most forgetful.
I do have a little trade route you could go to. Have you ever heard of Sierra?
No, I have not heard of a road called Sierra before.
As in the person Sierra. He works in Brenton.
Oh, loud dwarf, silly little beard thing.
Yeah.
Oh, isn't he nice?
He is. Well, we're just helping out with any trades that could go through him. I would assume that he would get some trade. I've heard from the lawkeeper that he's quite good at getting trade in. So maybe you could become trade partners.
Well, I could definitely go have a word with him at some point, but it's really just a point of like, are they completely different genres of trade? You know, I'm food and livestock. He's whatever he does. So it can be.
That's fine. I just thought I'd.
Well, thank you very much, Tara.
No problem.
It's been lovely to make all of your acquaintances. Now, if you don't mind me, I've got a very busy day ahead of me. But you all have a fun day. I'm glad you learned. Come back anytime. Also, fixed contracts and temporary contracts are always available if you just mention anything to me.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Well, enjoy your rest of your day.
Thank you very much. I'll try. And he just like closes the door from inside the mill.
Wait, did he just shut the door at us?
He did.
He's just gonna reopen the door and exit the building.
Yeah, as you just close it and you're like, it's suddenly a little bit darker in here. And you go out.
Yeah, fantastic. So, Eric's?
Yes.
Fantastic. We'll start heading
That
that way.
Bromley was not denying that he was a little bit short on a couple of things there.
So you
Yeah,
make
well,
your
at least
way.
we have a little work if we need to.
So you make your way to the far western part of town, past all of the homes and hovels, and you see just up on the top of a small sandy hill, rising at probably at least 20 feet above all of the other homes and hovels on the ground. You see a fairly small shack, from what you can see just in the distance, of just grey and brown wood that's haphazardly been, well, it's been built beautifully, but it's been haphazardly repaired over time. It'll take you a few minutes, about 20 minutes or so, to walk up there to the hill and everything. You do notice that all of the windows, at least on the front of the shack, facing over Branton, are completely boarded off.
Well, it does look deserted.
Yes. Maybe he doesn't want anyone peeking in.
Or maybe Duke has actually got here. I know he's been missing a few months, but
Maybe.
Mm.
We could always have a look.
yeah. On the walk up, can I actually keep an eye out for any other sets of footprints or anything like that?
Absolutely. Roll a perception check for me.
If I were to live at this house and have a peak vantage point over anyone coming up the hill, I'm going to be looking for that location.
Okay.
Anywhere on the hill or
Roll,
anywhere that
roll a perception check for me.
That's a
So,
14.
14. You find the sand is disturbed slightly. You don't see any distinct footprints.
15.
15. I mean, a decent ways away, you find a couple sand dunes, or you see like a small rock formation towards the south that climbs up to a high enough distance that it could like overshadow and be a decent vantage point for this shack as well as Brenton. But it is roughly 1,000 feet away, 900 or 1,000 feet away, easily.
Yeah, okay. That's fine. You know he has a scoop, so I'll keep it in mind.
Okay.
Looking at this, someone's been this way, but I can't tell if it was Zerg making his drop off. Duke, I can't tell. It's definitely happened recently.
If it was Zerg, would he have the wheels dug in, or has he got? He is a small guy, so wouldn't he have small feet?
He would also be carrying stuff behind him as well, don't forget.
Yeah, from the wheels. That's what I was saying.
I suppose DM, is the disturbance a larger one or a smaller one? At that rate?
With a 14, you find the disturbance in the sand is somewhere in between.
Yeah. So, I honestly don't know. It could be larger than normal people, but not quite a cart.
How about if we just not knock on, but if we get closer to the house and just be a bit more careful?
Yeah. And then if we need to knock, Rayloff, you boot down the door and we grab anyone that moves.
I'm cool with this plan.
You
Right.
you notice as you get up to the shack, as you're walking up up the hill to the top, because the shack is facing over Brenton, you're coming up to like the side of the house or side of the home, and you only see 2 glass windows or window panes on this side, and then you can kind of, as you're looking through, it's just, you can notice that they're mirrored on the other side of the house, but the front of the house will be the one facing over Brenton, where the boarded up windows are and where the front door is.
Okay. So are we very close? Like,
You're coming up to the shack, so yeah, you're coming up to the 10 to 5 feet, like to right outside of the building, if you want to be.
Before we fully get that close, I would have liked to be looking at the windows and to see if there was any movement of, like, when someone's behind and kind of peeking behind the curtain.
You notice that the curtains are all open.
Yeah.
Letting bright shafts of light in, and it just illuminates this like kind of like almost grey tinged interior. And you peek in, or you look to see for any movement, and it is still, there's no flickering candlelight, there's no shapes or forms moving right now. It's just, and the curtains aren't fluttering at all. No breeze getting into that shack or out. You see the top of the chimney is very discoloured from at the very, very top, from where the brickwork sits. It's near enough completely blackened towards the top of the chimney breast. But other than that, you don't see any kind of odd things.
And I suppose, do we all go in, or shall one of us remain outside? In case we have another bar situation-ish.
Well, looking at any candles or anything that could light up from like wax or oils, I'm going to use my Druidcraft to light one up inside to see if that brings any attention from within to it.
Okay, so what are you lighting up?
If there's a candle or anything that has oil, like a lamp or something, just so I can, if anyone were to see it from within, hopefully the attention would be to cover the light.
You find like a small little oil lamp sitting on a small table. Well, to peek in, as you just like put your hands on the exterior windowsill and you kind of like peer in.
Yeah.
And you use Druidcraft and you light that small little wick on the inside of the oil lantern or the oil lamp, and then you just watch, and there's no movement, and you feel like the windowsill just give way under you.
Okay.
Slightly, as a flat board is just away from the window frame.
Yeah.
And immediately, as you take off your weight, you instantly feel as like 3 or 4 just sharp stings into your neck. I want you to roll a Constitution saving throw for me.
I will. 18.
You are not taken by the effect, but you do suffer 11 points of piercing damage. As the actual thing, like, almost as you look at it again, as you're just clutching at your neck, and these like weird like bob needles that are just stuck in your neck, you look, and it's almost like this windowsill is like on a hinge, almost supposed to break away by any weight.
Is it bad?
Dara, are you alright?
No, not really.
Here, let me just try, and I'm going to cast Cure Wounds upon it.
Alright, Cure Wounds.
Just before he does, I'm going to try to pull them
Yeah.
out.
As you pull,
Yeah.
you
So they
take
don't get
another
pinched.
4 points of slashing damage. As you pull them out, and you find, after you pull them out and it stings even more, you look
Yeah.
and you see little barbs facing downwards to keep them in. And it just tears some of your skin, some of your esophagus with it. As you before Gel quickly cure wounds.
And that is only 7 points in that.
I will happily take 7. Yeah, thank you very much.
You, Sarah,
Yeah.
after that, and looking at Gerald as he heals you,
Yeah.
and you kind of peer back into the window, you find that flame has been snuffed out.
Okay. Rail off.
Yeah.
Fuck the door. Rail. Smash. Like fucking hell. I'm always angry.
Now, Tara, remember, we're not going to kill them.
No, but this guy needs to pay. And he's just like cursing under me voice, like struggling.
So what are you doing?
Raylock's gonna kick the fucking door down. That's what I think.
If he is.
I'm following fucking position. If he doesn't, I'm gonna try.
I'm gonna go to the door, but I'm not gonna stand. I'm guessing. Well, if there's like a mat, I'll certainly stay a bit like 10 feet away from the door.
There is no mat on the front porch.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Before he kicks the door down, I'm going to actively look for a trap.
Okay.
Yeah.
For what? From the door around the porch?
Anything. Assuming that we're going to be going anywhere near this house because of what just happened, I'm going to actively look for any traps.
Okay. Roll a perception check for me. Or investigation check, sorry, for a trap.
Investigation +2, that is a 16.
16. You don't notice any traps on the exterior on the porch. You can tell by the way the door sits in the door frame as it's slightly, like, from where you are, slightly, like, pushed in. Almost as if there's a weight attached to that door as well, from the inside.
Okay. I would suggest you to probably not kick the door in, actually.
Do not fuck the door.
Please!
Please don't fuck the door.
Because I feel like there is a trap, like what happens, but maybe something big enough for a door. Have you got any other plans? I have one.
I've
Why
got
would
it.
bother?
And Gerald jumps through the window that is broken and has already had the trap gotten off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gerald just bundles through and just dives through it.
Oh, fuck it!
Roll a acrobatics check for me.
Nice. That comes out 15.
Nice. You take 7 points of slashing damage as the window breaks around you, and the sharp bits of glass on the edges just nip at you as you go through and you land.
I'm gonna like ignore the immediate stab and just try to stand up and be like, ta-da!
You
No trap.
you kind of, just as you hurl through, you kind of hear a very slight and you stand.
Yeah, as I start to say no trap, look around. I'll give it that moment of just.
You look around the interior, and right now it is a dark grey interior with a small table, like haphazard, like really roughly made haphazard table, and a couple stools. Along this table is just tons of parchment with different scrawlings and scribbles on. You look to these small stairs that lead up, and you see little picture frames going up the stairway. There's a small fireplace that is just charred and blackened all around the floor of it, as well as against the back wall where the chimney breast sits. You look to the door with the boarded up windows, and through the haze and like all the dust in your face is just, you know, when the light shafts come in and all you can see is the dust particles. It's immense as you like look through, and you just almost like feeling it getting in your sinuses, and just holding back a few sneezes from your Kenku beak. You look through the hazy, like dim interior, and you see some small thread attached to the handle of the door, going up, 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 up. And just at the top, just above the doorway, you see a very large, very sharp axe that is just almost hanging itself on the side with the rope, or with the thread, just above the doorway, with the blade facing down.
Listen. Now, definitely do not go through that door. Just to let you know.
Okay.
But
You hear the muffled yet clear voice through the broken window.
to
Well,
the
you-
person that is in here with me, you better come out now, or believe me, I have ways of finding you.
I'm going to use Drewcraft to relight that snuffed out little lamp.
Just right next to you, Gerald.
Yeah.
The small little light flickers in the oil lamp.
Alright, please say that was you.
It was me.
That scared the shit out of me. I thought I was getting ambushed.
It feels
Right.
bad, doesn't it? It feels
maybe.
bad being scared. Yeah.
Well, person who is hiding, prepare to face my wrath as I open up the book of shit jokes. And we are going to make them laugh so I can figure out where they are.
Okay.
Is my aim. Anyway.
While
I
that's
was
happening,
the
I'm just
cow tired after giving birth. Because she was decarbonated.
Do they have to make a roll? Or is it just shitty
This
joke?
is literally up to you there.
Okay. Okay. Hold on. Alright. You roll a d20 for me.
Will do.
the performance check.
I'm going to hold in any laughter to make sure that he has maximum chance of finding out.
Yeah, that was a 3.
Dull silence.
Well, fine. Maybe this one then. Why did the troll withdraw his army? Because he was afraid of being overwhelmed.
Right, roll a 20 again.
Oh, 19 this time.
Okay.
Oh, it was hilarious.
You feel the punchline and the enunciation of the joke was stellar, just tip top. You hear no laughter.
Oh, fine, you just can't please some people then. Dar, Rayluff,
At this
stand
point, I
away
would've-
from the door as I cut.
I would have
the
climbed
door.
in through the window at this point.
It's a small window.
Either way, I'm cutting
Never
that
mind.
string.
Yeah, Rayloff, you begin to kind of like try and push your body through, finding it's like you're just squeezing in and not going to get any leeway. As you see Gerald go up to the door and just thwap against the string. Tara, outside the front door, all you see...
I'm not outside the front door. I'm next
you?
to the window. I would have lit up the lamp.
Okay. Or Gerald, and all of you here. And Gerald, you just notice the blade of the axe head is firmly protruding through the door, going through the entire door, poking out at least 2-3 inches.
Ooh, that
Oh.
looks nasty.
I'll head to the
Yeah,
door
no,
and open it.
You open and you just kind of like watch this axe head with it just like turn with the door.
How big of an axe are we talking?
Just a like wood cutting axe. It's not not immense, but it's big enough to crack your head open.
Yeah.
Oh,
If Rayloff goes through the door and leaves the axe, I will take the axe and I will pocket said axe. Okay.
Just like,
oh,
I know,
someone is here, but they apparently have the same sense of humor as you two. So take that what you will.
I hate you. I'm going to actively look if there's any traps from within to see if there was like just in case they do manage to get in. Is there like a trap on the floor, or does it look
well,
like?
you need well for each check, you're going to need to tell me like specifically where you're looking for.
Okay, I'm going to actively look at the floor to
Okay.
see if there's any traps.
Okay, roll investigation
Definitely
check for me then.
in this room.
Yeah. Okay,
Size.
investigation check for me, please.
That is a +2, 21.
21 as you scour around the floor and being careful and wary of every touch and footfall. You don't notice any traps in the immediate room. You do find like two slightly looser looking or not so connected boards just at the very bottom of the stairway.
Okay. I'm gonna kind of not openly shout, but like make it seem so whoever's there can hear us a bit more. I see they've made a trap near the bottom of the stairs. Be careful. It's not like it was obvious. Trying to make him suffer a bit more in his own because he's stupid. Good try.
You notice that flickering little candlelight in the oil lamp
Yeah.
flickers slightly more before it and it just depletes on an empty wick
Okay.
before just a very gentle smoke and fog comes crawling out of the top of the oil lamp.
Does it look like the fog that came out of the sphere that came out of
The canister.
Yeah.
The same thickness, but a more purpley grey colour. As it begins to just and begin to bellow, and it slowly
How close
begins
is it to
fill
us?
room. 5 feet.
Right, I'm gonna bash it out the window with my shield.
Okay, roll an attack roll for me.
23.
If you miss this candle.
23. As you and you see a few of the pieces of parchment just and just flutter in the air and off the table as you smash this oil lamp, and it just goes and straight out of one of the other windows and onto the
Also
ground
gonna
outside.
Use Sierra's breath to push away the smoke.
Yeah, easily, just as you and you basically like just you are the filtration device as you just push all of the noxious gas away and out, leaving it to bellow outside the home now.
I'm actively going to say it louder.
Thick cloud, just as big as the arch dome cloud that you all had with the canister before, outside the home.
I'm going to actively. How pathetic! I'm going to have a look at the parchment stuff that was on the table. See if that shows us about anything or any information. I want to see it, and then, if possible, roll it up and keep it.
you see a few sketches of what looks like a slight replica, or maybe the original idea for what kind of handheld weapons Duke carries around.
Okay, definitely rolling that up and keeping it.
As you roll it, you gently hear a slight from the parchment.
I'm gonna grab, turn, and go.
Well, grab the parchment, turn.
Grab,
Yeah.
turn, and I'm just gonna wait
Okay.
in that general direction, like away.
Okay. You roll the parchment up, and you hear from the parchment. You just hear a slight, and you turn it.
Yeah.
Dead silence. You feel a little winded of the way you landed.
Yeah. I'll take a bit of winded than blown up. Is it safe?
We haven't blown up.
Woohoo! Gonna stand up and actively unroll it and see
As
what was actually there.
you unroll, and it's blank.
Yeah.
So, ass.
You see the very corner of like some mathematical equation.
Yeah.
As following that similar sound, you see the ink just quickly leaving the page and just soaking into nothing.
Right. Is anyone close to the bottom of the stairs at this point?
I was gonna suggest that I go upstairs, so probably Gerald.
I'll probably. Well, so, Gerald, move out the way a sec.
Fine. Alright.
I did say about the
As
pot.
soon as he's moved, I'm gonna take out a piece of firewood and throw it at the loose stairway that Tara pointed out.
You throw it onto these two boards that look a teeny little bit more separated than the others. And you see both of them. They just and just drop from the center on hinges on either side. And the log, you hear it just land on something that gently pierces the wood.
I'm gonna peer down into that.
You take the log out for a second, and you see just about 40 or so finely sharpened nail and needle spikes all jutting up in this large chunk straight upwards.
Christ, they really thought someone was out to get them. They're not
But
wrong.
yet, fooled again, haha!
But thank you, my love. I was just gonna walk up them.
Maybe wait until we've found something first. The glow.
Oh, we're gloating that we're succeeding. That's what I'm gloating about.
Right.
Because they were all pathetic!
By all means, then go first.
I'm not saying going first, I'm saying we gloat as we go.
You managed to find it. You go next.
If you put all of your plan and dedication into making sure no one gets in and fails multiple times, actively getting louder, you have done a bad job. Just saying. If it was me, I would have done a better job. I will actively look at traps towards the stairs.
Roll an investigation check for me.
Can I list out for perception if anyone's, making a basically like a movement or something?
Sure, yeah. Roll a perception check for me.
On these quiet points.
Yeah.
15 for that one.
15. You notice just under the entire underside of the hand railing on the close wall, just on the underside lining the entire thing, is just a long strip of thin needles.
Not very nice, but still amateur move. I wouldn't touch the handles. They're very prickly. Haha.
That's a 21 there.
21. You don't hear any movement.
Mm.
No movement, no breaths. Just silence. In between terrors mocking.
Yeah. Hmm. Do you think maybe they've just got an escape tunnel and we're just talking to nobody?
Maybe,
Yes.
but it's worth it. Oh, sorry. If you're also adamant, we can go back down the stairs, knowing where everything is safe. You go! I'll be here. La 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 la.
Looking under the stairs, does it look like there's more area underneath?
No. It's just
Okay, no,
it's just like a blank wall underneath the stairs as it kind of goes up a little bit, then turns on the corner and goes left and up to the first level.
Okay.
You say there were paintings hanging on the
Mhm.
wall, family.
Yeah.
Can I have a look at, observe some of these photos?
Yeah, sure. You look at the most immediate one and you see a small young dwarf and a very young Leonin, or two very young Leonins, in and around this little pond, happy and smiling. You gently hear as a dart from the top of the painting just into your head. I want you to roll a Constitution saving throw for me.
Nothing else. 10.
10. You take, I'll say just technically as you are poisoned, right now you take 7 points of piercing damage.
Excellent.
And I will say you take, just as this initial moment, you take 6 points of poison damage as the initial toxin just pushes in. And all of, like, the silence is constantly broken every time a slight little like a trap is triggered, and you both hear Gerald.
Well, we're in the right house, definitely.
Yeah.
But even so, they'd literally a trap on every single goddamn thing in this place.
Like, don't
Even
get me
if
wrong, they are trying.
Mhm.
Why?
But even the pictures. What? Wait, that wasn't you, Rayloff, right? Your voice isn't like that.
Why are you in my home?
To be honest, we wanted answers. We heard
And-
that Eric lives here.
That's where we're going to end tonight's episode and come back next week to pick up right from there.
Oh boy.
I didn't even realize it was 10 o'clock there.
I know. I was looking at the time. I was like, fuck, we'll have to end it at one point. But, yeah, what a fucking cool episode. I can't wait for next week and see how anything goes. Hopefully don't trigger too many more traps on the way.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
trigger every fucking trap in this place.
Yes, you are.
Well, we all just want to say, well, yeah, with all of that done, thank you very much for watching. It was a lot of fun, and we'll see you next time.